Jen, were you expecting any other folks?
No, I don't believe so.
Okay, then I will go ahead and call this Thursday, July 2nd, regular meeting of the Police and Fire Commission to order. We'll begin with the roll call. Vice President Schaaf.
Present.
Commissioner Cobb.
Present.
Commissioner Boyle-Roloff.
Here.
And Warren Wanizek has an excused absence, and I'm Rod Goldhahn, so all the the 4 of the 5 commissioners are present. You all should have received an agenda in the mail. I will accept a motion to approve that agenda.
So move.
Moved by Commissioner Schaaf. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Commissioner Boyle-Roloff. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, the agenda has been approved. Next item is approval of the minutes. That was from the regular meeting held April 2nd. That was our last meeting. Those were also in the packet. Any questions or to the minutes? If not, I'll entertain a motion to approve.
So move.
Moved by Commissioner Schaaf. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Commissioner Boyle-Roloff. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor?
I'm just gonna abstain from the ayes on this because I didn't participate in that meeting, and so I didn't feel it was appropriate.
Okay.
The minute.
All right. Any further discussion? Okay, hearing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, hearing none, and let the record show that Rashad abstained because he was not in the meetings when those minutes took place.
I wasn't a commissioner at that time. I'm sorry.
Which brings us to the next agenda item, the reports. First, for the president report, I would like to welcome our newest commissioner, Rashad Cobb. He's joining us to replace Vanya Kopke, whose term ended in May. Nancy and I had a chance to meet Rashad at one of the interview sessions we had at the police department when we were interviewing for, I believe it was the either the captains or the detectives. So Rashad, welcome to the commission, and if you'd like to get commissioners, feel free.
Yeah, thank you. I really appreciate the introduction. My name is Rashad Cobb, originally from Milwaukee, Wisconsin. I've been in Green Bay since June of 2005. I've held various roles from nonprofits generally, working with the Boys and Girls Club and youth development, working at the Job Center with the Welfare to Work program. I've also done some prison reintegration work with family services. In addition to that, I also worked to serve homeless teens in the community through family services as well. I serve on a couple other boards. Married, my wife and I, no children, but I try to be as involved as possible with the kids in this community. I do a lot of mentoring in various high schools and try to spend my time as much as possible to make myself available. And so I've had the pleasure of getting an opportunity to know a lot of individuals within the police force through some contact with Chief Smith and Kevin as well. And I'm just, again, really looking forward to learning. I really want to learn a lot about fire. I definitely think I can expand my knowledge in that area. But here to listen, to learn, and ultimately contribute. So really thankful for the opportunity.
Welcome.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
Yeah, great. We welcome you to the commission. And as I said, Rashad is replacing Vanya Kopke. And on behalf of the commission, I'd like to thank Vanya for his 2 years of service to the commission. With that, report from the chiefs. Bob.
So Chief Litton is unavailable today, but things are going very well for working through all of the COVID-19 issues and so on. We're obviously continuing to track what's going on with that in the community and kind of the resurgence that seems to be popping up a little bit. We continue to get regular reports from Brown County Public Health about the daily case counts and testing and so on. Staffing wise, it hasn't had an impact on us yet, thankfully. Beyond that, we're continuing to work with Bellevue Fire and work through that arrangement and those discussions with them. So that's going very well. And the other thing that we've got upcoming is in August, one of our battalion chiefs will be going out on some leave temporarily. And we hope to, at that point, make the decision probably in early September or possibly a little bit into October, then bringing up Eric Jeltema and Ray Featon into a training position so that they can start to work through working in the office of battalion chief for a series of different assignments. Some will be on shift and some will be during the day, just working on in the office with the battalions that day, and basically on the job training to get them ready for moving into those positions. We do believe that, we do know, I should say, that one of the battalion chiefs, Battalion Chief Steve Sellen, will be retiring on November 13th. So either Ray or Eric would move into the role of battalion chief then, and then Battalion Chief Bob Wiegert is planning to leave on December 19th. So at that point, then the other person would step in again, either Eric or Ray, and move into that position. So it's going to give us a great opportunity to get them some more on the job training. They continue to work in those positions as much as we can have them do that as staffing allows. They're both doing an excellent job. One thing I want to mention with both of them, we did bring them into the COVID-19 response for the fire department had several people working in the Brown County Emergency Operations Center for months during COVID-19, and it's still going on, but that role has transitioned back primarily to just public health staff. But both Eric and Ray were brought into the Emergency Operations Center and worked there for several months, and it was a phenomenal experience for them to have. Terrible situation to be in, but also a situation where that is legitimately and hopefully an opportunity that they may never get again. And it was just excellent experience for them. And they, again, it just proved that these two are the right people for these positions, because they stepped right into a situation none of us have ever been in before and performed admirably. So kudos to them for that. So that completes our report.
Thank you, Chief Goplin. Any questions for Rob? Hearing none, we'll move to the police. Commander Work.
Thank you for having me today. Chief Smith is out of the office for a couple weeks, enjoying some time out west with his family, so he sends his regards. Couple things from the police department. Lieutenant Kane, who is also on this call here, will hopefully share some information on your screen, and I'll jump right to that once that pops up. But meanwhile, as he does that, just wanted to give you, the community meeting that we held last week, very productive. I think that, that open dialogue is the key in really developing those relationships to further our efforts here of community transparency, showing the community what the police department does, how we're trained, what we do, and really look for their input. That was just one meeting of many going forward. Chief Smith, myself, and the team is really putting together a series of things more in so that in conjunction with the mayor, to show the community, because the community or the nation's talking about police reform and what police departments should do. And this is just one of the things we're going to do. And on your screen, you'll see the proposed table of organization. And this is just for informational only for you. What you'll see here is you'll see there will be obviously the chief, 2 commanders, and then four captains. One of the agenda items will be the promotion of Lieutenant Kane to captain, just to have that 4 captains, because Captain John Laux, his last day is July 6th. Sad day in the police department. What an outstanding person, salt of the earth kind of person. He will be sadly missed. I owe a lot of my career to him. So as we push forward, though, and we talk about reorganization and talk about what we can do to help show the community what we're doing, reform, I don't want to say necessary reform, but improve. I like to say we can always improve. We have this proposed table of organizations, which is a little different than what we have now. We are creating an administrative captain. We're having a separate training division. That's one of the key points, that the separate training division, we're going to have 2 designated trainers training our personnel on topics like human dignity, implicit bias, professional communications, cultural diversity, really the topics that police officers need. There is a trend, and I firmly believe in the restorative justice models out there, bringing the offenders, the victims, and everybody together to reduce the harm that's caused by crime. And that's the direction that we're thinking, and not necessarily that's all we're going to do, but I think that plays a big part in here. So the training aspect of this proposed table of organization is very, very new. Tentatively, we're shooting for the first of the year. We have to work through some budgetary items with human resources in the city, because we have to promote 4 more sergeants. So we have a total of 15 sergeants, because we're going to 1 lieutenant on the shift and 5 sergeants on each of the 3 shifts. Full disclosure, we are getting some pushback from the association, because they do not like, or they wish to keep the mid shift, which is the one that starts at 10:30 in the morning, and then the shift that starts at 7 at night. The reason we're eliminating those 2 shifts, or proposing, is really we're breaking it down to make a more clear chain of command, so everybody knows who they report to. Our department is going to be focused in making a priority of training our personnel on the topics I talked before. We believe that it's going to create a savings in overtime. The police department has to save $100,000 from their overtime budget due to the pandemic. We're going to do that, but for 2021, we believe that this table of organization will save us money in the long run. And most importantly, I think it's going to increase our service to the community. We are going to stack the 3 shifts with more officers, because officers right now, their biggest complaint is staffing. And they're going from call to call to call, and they get burnt out. I mean, by the 7th to 8th hour, you're pretty gassed. And officers on shift, we can handle the call volume. We can give officers more discretionary time, and most importantly, then we can put officers on foot beats or on bikes, getting those officers out of the squad car that's desperately needed moving forward here to do that. So that's proposed at this time. We're shooting for the first of the year. And we'll go forward. A couple other things for the chief's report. We are working there was some communication between the chiefs, myself, Human Resources, Celestine, Commissioner Goldhahn, about a community awareness meeting and their role, so we don't interfere any roles or responsibilities with the Police and Fire Commission. I've got a rough draft of that to the mayor. The chief will get it when he gets back, and we will work through that and make sure that there's no conflict of interest in both the commission and the community awareness meeting. We as the police department work very closely with the fire department, monitoring the COVID pandemic. Operations are almost back to normal. We still require mandatory hand washing and stuff like that, but so far we're almost back to normal, which I think everybody was desperately needed. But sadly, we're seeing that those surge in Brown County of the cases. So we will monitor that and work closely with the fire in case we have to re-implement some of the same procedures. There was supposed to be a scheduled protest this evening at 4:30, which I planned on going to at the Schwabenland Community Center, but a tragic incident in Sheboygan happened, and they decided to go to Sheboygan tonight. I'm still going to try to go out to the Schwabenland Community Center to establish the rapport with that organizer. That's someone I have not met before. I'd like to establish a connection. Declined my request on social media, but we'll see if I can establish that connection going forward. But I just want to report to the commission that our department is putting together a plan. The table of organization is one, training is another, really kind of show the community how we can improve our service and improve internally for our people, so that we can show the community that we're responding to what's going around the country. And I'm not necessarily we need to change things, but I think we can improve some things. And I really want to focus on the community transparency. We'll get the policies for the police department, the use of force policy, the handcuffing policies, the impact weapon policy, stuff like that will be posted on our new website. If you haven't seen our new website, we got that probably in March. We're slowly building that with Shelby and City Hall. So that will be coming. There will be a Police and Fire Commission tab on there. I'm working with Commissioner Goldhahn to make sure that that is exactly what the commission wants. But that's kind of where we'll start with our transparency. And that's about it. Really just enjoy. The officers are really working hard. They're putting in some long hours. This heat is taxing on them, but they're doing great work every day. They're very proud to work for the police department.
Great, thank you. Are there any questions for Kevin on the table of organization or anything else?
Yeah, Kevin, just a couple of things really quick. Was there anything that prompted the discussion around trying to define roles as far as like commission attending events that like the one that happened on Thursday? Was there anything that just popped out, or was it just us trying to be proactive and making sure everybody understands where we should be as commissioners?
No, I don't think there was any questions pertaining to like attending the meeting. It was more, there are 10 police and fire commissions, and this is what I've been told. There are 10 police and fire commissions in the state of Wisconsin that have the oversight of policy authority, and you do that through voter referendum, and I would defer to Commissioner Goldhahn on that. And when I was talking about the community awareness meeting, I just don't want that to blend or blur or interfere with the role of the commission. So there's distinct duties with the community awareness meeting, and then what the role of the police and fire commission is. Does that help?
Yeah, I appreciate it. Thank you.
Yeah, and I think that accurately describes it. The roles of the commissions are dictated by state statutes, and Milwaukee, because of its size, their police and fire commission is a bit different than ours. For other communities of our size, our responsibilities are called out with the exception of those where the voting population has voted through referendum to give the commission operational oversight. But short of that, then the operational oversight rests with the mayor and the city council. And the hiring and the dispute resolution is in the hands of the police and fire commission. All right, any other questions for Kevin?
Just a comment. I did appreciate too, I think is it Dr. Eddie Moore that you, Kevin, were part of that conversation? I appreciated watching that. And then the community conversation last Thursday was really helpful. I think that the community engagement is so powerful, and there's been some really positive steps already made, and I appreciated the chief lifting that up. But I think the presentation was it kind of triggered some things in me. I think that could have been strengthened in some ways, especially the talk about focus on behavior, and it almost kind of veered into that color blindness thing, because behavior can be culturally specific, can be specific to mental health concerns. So I don't know. I think that the more implicit bias training, the more cultural sensitivity trainings, or whatever they're called, that we can do, the more helpful we could be. It was a good presentation, but there are just some comments and things that maybe created more tension than needed to happen too in that. But I thought the chief handled it really well, and the officers there handled the questions and feedback really well.
And Commissioner, I've heard that from other people as well, and we will work with that. And I would really like to just, if you could send me an email of just your thoughts on that, because sometimes it's the guardian versus warrior mentality. We are guardians. We are always guardians, and we want to portray that. Not necessarily, we're not warriors, we're not that, but sometimes when use of force is presented, it's kind of that warrior mentality. So our intent is the guardian mentality, but it could be portrayed as warrior. And that's where I think we could do some improvement in how we frame what we do.
Yeah. I would actually like to second what you said, Marion, for sure. I think I'll also send you an email as well, Commander Ward, to follow up.
All right. Any other questions or comments for Kevin? Okay, before we go on to the next section, I want to do a check with Jen. Since we're on Zoom and not sitting in the room together, are there any folks other than the commissioners or the folks representing the police and fire department on the call?
No, they're not.
Okay, so I'm just checking to see if there may be someone down the road that had a question or some department, because I was going to offer Rob the rest of the agenda. We have a closed session for a police promotion item, and then the rest is just budgets and bill paying, and all those are pretty boilerplate. Actually, none of them apply to the fire department. So if you have other things that you would like to be doing right now, feel free to do that. And we thank you for being on the call.
You mean like starting tomorrow's vacation day a little bit early? That's great. I appreciate it.
Hey, congratulations. All right.
Thank you all very much.
Thanks, Rob.
Bye.
All right, the next agenda item is a consideration with possible action on a request to approve 2 police department promotions. The commission may convene in closed session pursuant to section 19.85, paragraph 1, sub C and F, Wisconsin statutes, to consider employment, promotion, compensation, or performance evaluation data of any public employee over which the governmental body has jurisdiction or exercise responsibility. The commission may thereafter reconvene in open session pursuant to section 19.85, paragraph 2, Wisconsin statutes, to report the results of the closed session and consider the balance of the agenda. Is there a motion to go into closed session?
Motion.
Moved by Commissioner Cobb. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Commissioner Schaaf. Any further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Yes.
Any opposed? All right, we're in closed session. And Jen, just give me the high sign when it's...
Okay, Rod, we're back. If you could just report out what the motion and the second was?
Yes, I will. Oh, as to who made them
Yes, please.
as well? Okay. Now you have to remember that. Too bad Matt's not back on the call now. While in closed session, the commission reviewed 2 promotional proposals from the police department, and both of these were approved unanimously. Commissioner Schaaf made the motion, Commissioner Cobb made the second, and it was a unanimous motion to approve these. And this included a promotion from lieutenant to captain for Matthew Kane, and promotion to sergeant for Officer Rob Ecke. With that, the next agenda item is consideration with possible action on the budget status report and the budget spreadsheet. Those were in your packet. There was no spending on the fire department. And Rashad, for your benefit, the only thing that we have authority over within the budgets of the police and fire departments is the recruiting and anything dealing with hiring or promotion. So the 3 items that we saw in the packet for this, find the right page here, included items for hiring packet, an audiologist, reviewer, an audiogram, and then advertising.
Perfect.
Does anyone have any questions for those? If not, I will entertain a motion to receive those and place on file.
So moved.
Second.
Moved by Commissioner Boyle-Roloff, seconded by Commissioner Schaaf. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Yes.
Opposed? All right, those carry. The next item is consideration with possible action on the request to approve the monthly bills. Within your packet were the bills for those spending items that we just discussed. Any questions for Jen on any of those? Hearing none, I'll entertain a motion to authorize payment.
So moved.
Moved by Commissioner Schaaf,
Second.
seconded by Commissioner Cobb. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, motion carries. Next item is setting the date and time of the next meeting. So pending any needs for recruiting from the police department, our next regular meeting, if we follow the normal schedule, would be August 6th. Kevin, are you aware of any interviews that may be coming up between now and then?
No, I know they were doing internal interviews by us, but it's going to take them weeks to do some background. So I think August 6th will be appropriate. I'll connect with Jody Booth. If that needs to be moved up or moved back, I'll contact Jen Smits in HR.
Okay, and okay, then we'll do that. And also, Rashad, for your benefit, generally our meetings are the first Thursday of the month. But if we're in a heavy recruiting time or a heavy interviewing and hiring time, we'll adjust that date based upon when interview candidates are available. And then we try to do our regular commission meeting in conjunction with those interviews to maximize people's use of time. So unless you hear differently, plan for August 6th at 3 o'clock.
All right. Thank you.
With that, there's no public hearing scheduled and no community members that are on the call that may wish to have any questions. So with that, I will entertain a motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn.
Moved by Commissioner Cobb,
Second.
seconded by Commissioner Boyle-Roloff. All
Well,
those-
that's Nancy.
Oh, seconded by Commissioner Schaaf, sorry. One of you will have to have a deeper voice next time.
Yeah.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? If not, we're adjourned. Thank you all.
Thank you.
Thank you. Have a
Have a
happy
nice
Fourth.
Fourth.
Good 4th.
Aye.